Dr. Joseph Kithitu is the managing director of Hemingway's Travel.
Yes.
And he's here with us in the studio. Dr. Kithitu, good morning and welcome to Kenya's Biggest Conversation.
Morning, Eric. Thank you.
It's good to have you here. That is called a hot seat where you're occupying. And since Hemingway's Travel is a company that deals with travel, you'll tell us what you do about travel and whether you actually take people to Lesotho or people from Lesotho come to Kenya and whether they ever tell you about the languages that they speak in Lesotho. Who is Hemingway's Travel?
Thank you. Thank you, indeed, Eric and the team. Indeed, Hemingway's Travel is a travel management company, basically dealing with travel planning. And this travel is on a global perspective, air travel arrangement, hotel reservations, giving air transfer services from the airport, and visas and insurance, basically giving whole package solution to the travel. In the Hemingway's Travel group, basically we have the Hemingway's Travel, which is a travel business, and we're ahead as the managing director.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about when you hear a company like that and then you hear travel. So the travel, you think about different things. There's travel agent. There's travel advisor. There's other travel. So are you all those things? Who's a travel agent?
Yes, that's a good one. And you're not the first one to ask this one. That word has moved over time, and especially with the COVID. The travel agent, the travel arranger, the travel consulate has become an expert in travel. Basically has become an advisor as a source of information for giving safety net for travel. So this has become bigger. It's become a partner, not just giving you a ticket and letting you go. It's making sure you are safe and you have a safety net that you can now travel safely. That is a travel agent or a travel partner, so to say.
So you do like a 360, not just, I don't just have to call you and say, I want to travel to Lesotho. Can you get me a ticket, the cheapest flights to Lesotho and the best timings? You do more than that?
Indeed, we do more than that, as I've said. In fact, we do a 360 service. And this 360 service, speak the Lesotho you are mentioning here, we do all the touch points. We pick you, we organize you we do a transfer ticket, first a ticket for you. We're able to organize all your traveling documentations for you. We're able to advise you. With this day and age, you need to be very clear what are all the requirements or conditions of that location you are going. We give you that information. And then we now, all that has been ticked the boxes and all the documentations are in place. We pick you from your residence. We take you to the airport. We check you in. We let you fly. We receive you at the other end. And we organize your travel in a peaceful manner.
Okay. Now, the question I asked you off air, so now I'll ask you on air. Are you associated with the other Hemingway outfits? In Watamu, there's one in Karen somewhere, I believe.
Thank you, Muga. Indeed, we are associated. Initially, we used to operate as Express Travel Group. And that question used to come in every now and then. So we rebranded ourselves to Hemingway's Travel, basically aligning the brand repositioning. So we have the Hemingway's Group, which basically has Hemingway's Hotels and Hemingway's Travel. And within the group, I'm the Chief Operating Officer. Within the Hemingway's Travel, I'm the Managing Director. So we have one clear proposition, value proposition to our customers.
So essentially, let me get this right. Huh?
Yes.
You not only organize travel,
yes,
but you even have the capacity to provide the destination.
Quite right. We do provide destination from two perspectives.
Yes.
From our own properties and from the properties of others, not just only our properties. So we actually have a specified arm of business called Hemingway's Expedition, which basically is a subsidiary within the group that deals with destination management. So we can take you to our properties, we can take you even to other properties and make you your journey and your travel complete.
Could you please explain a little bit about destination management?
Yes. What destination management is a terminology that has been used basically to arrange safaris and touring. It's coming to the local perspective, you know. So, and we see it from destination. Actually, the word destination is used from inbound, incoming. You know, you're outside the country, you want to come to Kenya, you want to enjoy it. So I want, that is a destination. I want to go to Masai Mara. It's a destination. I want to go to Mombasa. So you are being taken through that process, and that's what we call a destination management.
So you advise. So I want to come to Kenya and I want to experience the country.
Yes.
You're the ones who will tell me, okay, so we can give you a beach experience, we can give you a bush experience, we can give you a cultural experience, we can give you a culinary experience, and all those things now you curate together.
Yes, we are, so to say, we are like doctors in terms of that space. we treat you because you want leisure, you want to enjoy. And in that space, we provide that service. Basically, we're able to tell you where you will get the wowing factor. Do you want to see wild animals? We know where they are. Do you want to see the beach? We know where it is. We want to thrill you. We know where that is happening. Yes.
And it all costs an arm and a leg.
No. It can even cost only the arm, not the leg.
Or a finger.
Or a figure, or lower. Actually, what we do nowadays, you want a value. What you spend, you need a value. It doesn't need to be that much. Whether small or big, you need a value. Even a cup of coffee, it has to give that value. That is a value proposition we work for.
Yes. But in terms of the services that you offer, would it be referred to as low end, middle end, high end, very high end?
Yeah,
Where would you fit in?
Thank you for that question. Sorry. Indeed, many people have thought we deal with the high end, and that is a narrative. COVID has shown us that every shilling counts. You don't bank values. You don't bank things that are not monetary. So you want a customer who pays, and whether he's paying big or small, it's a customer. So what has happened with the Hemingway's brand is we have looked at all customers equally, and worked out to give them same value. So we want, especially with the COVID, we had to work with domestic market for almost 2 years. So really the international market went away. And that meant we don't need to go for the rich customer. It's a customer who can afford, a customer who wants value, a customer who wants to be taken care of. And that is everyone. All of us here want to be taken care of.
Perfect. Now that we've gotten there. So let's look at the last 5 years or so.
Yes.
You say in these 2 years of COVID,
Yes.
the international traveler reduced their travel into the country, or the numbers reduced. The domestic traveler was the one that was basically sustaining the local travel business.
Yes.
Now, how would you compare the trends in terms of the domestic traveler and what they're looking for and how much they're spending, the kind of experiences that they are seeking, versus the international traveler and what they look for?
Thank you, Eric. Now, what has happened, I want to give you a trend. And this trend is into perspective of what has happened over the last 2 years, especially since the COVID kicked in. Now, before, travel was in a patent manner. So we knew high season, low season, and all that. Now, with the COVID kicking in from 2020, 2021, indeed there was a silent period whereby the travel wasn't much. Now, when the openings, the doors started opening, started more with domestic travel. So what we have seen is that there has been what we call a pent-up demand, and that's a demand. How you create that demand is that you find you want to do something and you're not doing it. So there was a desire to travel, whether domestic or internationally, but it wasn't happening. As a result, there was that desire to do something. Now, when the restrictions started easing, the first thing they were eased within the domestic. And 2019, we normally refer it as a year that had almost high levels of travel. So, of course, there was a decline or going downwards. But now in 2022, we compare with 2019 to see what are we doing in terms of travel. We've seen the domestic travel has peaked significantly to a level that is now doing almost more than 100% of 2019 travel. And that is the pent-up demand of domestic travel.
Shouldn't the attention have been put on domestic travel a while ago to say that, as opposed to looking at foreign travelers, which unfortunately was the attention for a long time, that shouldn't it have been create packages then for the Kenyan market and then see that you would be able to make huge profits, but at the same time you satisfy your local appetite for travel and holiday?
Indeed, you're right, too. What's happening, these are lessons we have learned. That, all through we thought there was international travel was the rich cream and the local wasn't much. We have now come to realize that you can actually survive. You can actually do a business with the local people. There's enough for the market. And that's something should have be done earlier enough. It didn't happen. Now it's there. People are creating products purely focused on domestic and giving enough for them. So really the travel for the domestic market is sufficient. Of course, international travel is good. It gives you the dollar that cures our currency problem. But in terms of occupancies, in terms of numbers, domestic market is sufficient too.
Where are domestic travelers going mostly?
Good. So domestic, let's define that. Are just local people that are within a country or a region. So where are they going? They're basically trying to visit their country. They're going to different places. Whenever we talk about travel, we don't only talk about an aircraft travel, where you jump into an aircraft and you're flown. You can still do a road travel. You can still do, those are the safaris we call. You could do a smart safari or organized trip that makes your travel. So the domestic people are going into what we call circuit. In this country, we have circuit, and circuits are sites of interest. There are people who want to go to the coastal beach. There are people who want to go to the Masai Mara. There are people who also want to go to Abosel to be wowed by elephant, like I was one time did. So they are quite interesting sites. Naivasha, yes, we've got, you want to be just away from home in a short distance. Naivasha is there for us. They're quite interesting sites, and that's where domestic people are traveling just to enjoy the country.
Are they going to new places that you are, if you're looking at the same trends? Let's say initially people would go to the coast, they know the beach. People who want to go somewhere, they go to the national parks or the game reserves. Masai Mara, Amboseli, close here. Are we seeing people going to other places, say Kakamega Forest?
Oh, and that's interesting. What we have seen is that the demographic that is traveling is changing. We used to have the old people that had money that were traveling. Now that space has widened up. Middle-level people are still traveling. As a result, they want to be wild. They want to be, you don't give them same product every day. So as a result, even the properties have had to scale up what they offer to their clients. So people are not going to the same place. And even they go to the same place, they want a different product. So you just have to be innovative. So you find people going to the coast. I was at the south coast. I need to go to the north coast. Fine, I'm at the north coast. What else can I do here? I need to do scarfing. I need to do those kind of things. So what we are seeing is that there is demand in terms of the travel. People who are traveling want to experience different things. Don't give them the same product. Hey, won't come again. They've had enough.
So don't just tell me come and then we'll put some sunbeds for you to go and laze around on the beach. Kenyans are like nilale siku mzima.
You'll have lost it. This reminds me of a guest we hosted in one of our hotel, and it rained the whole day, and the guest was like, "I didn't come here to stay in the room. Refund my money." I was like, we didn't. The rain is not our making.
The rain
is not our making. But these guests wanted to be out there, so don't get guests to keep them in the rooms. They have left better rooms in their houses.
In fact, I like what you've raised. Don't you then have excursions that take into consideration the rain? Meaning, take a walk in the rain, or, well, I mean, you want to be up and about. You want to assume that to be up and about, the sun must be shining, isn't it? Okay, rain excursion. I'm saying this because there's something I saw when the Yugoslavia broke up, and there was all this turmoil. There were people who are going to war-torn areas as a tourist destination. It's like they wanted to experience war. Now, it's bizarre, but they're there. Now, rain isn't really war, is it?
That's a nice one, Muga. Indeed, you really need to prepare how to wow people in such a situation, because you can imagine I'm wowing you when it's raining. Indeed, there are activities you could do. You could do especially the water sport activities are really, rain in the water doesn't affect you much. But by nature, it slows down. It slows down those activities and the feel. Because by the time you get to the boat, you've been wet along that distance. So a few things do happen. Ideally, of course, you don't want to keep people in the indoors. But the weather sometimes can slow down. It never rains a whole day in this country. It could rain for a while. And you get people back to the rain course. So basically, it's on and off.
We see people actually demanding more experiences, like you're saying, Dr. Kithitu. That thing of just going somewhere, because I have come to the Mara, the only thing I'm going to do is do a game drive. Go and sit there and look. We're looking for lion. Okay, the next thing we're looking for an elephant. So if I was in the Mara last year and I saw all the big five, I saw Akil and I saw all these other things, why should I come to the Mara next year? So what else is the sector actually doing to improve on this product offering, so that if I went to Amboseli last year and this is what I saw, when I go to Amboseli next time, I should be looking out for different things. I should be expecting a different experience.
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, there's a lot of product variations that is happening just to wow that and to cure that problem. Because look, the numbers will decline if you're offering the same product throughout. What will happen is that I went to Aboseli. Will I go to Aboseli again? I need to create a difference. What is happening is that the industry at large has looked at that aspect and is trying to differentiate the product. How you differentiate the product is in different aspects of aesthetics. We call them aesthetics. You would differentiate by how you did that safari. What kind of vehicle were you using? Were you using your own Prado, which is closed? I'll open up for you. You can go to the rooftop. You can take the 3D, the bigger view of the wildlife.
360 photography.
360 photography. Again, it would wow you with hot pools. It would wow you with hot balloon hair. So there are really many products that you do offer, not just to see a lion, an elephant, and dead. So what else next? No, actually, if you do take a Chinese to those parks, you just have to be careful because you can finish a safari in less than 20 minutes. You say, I saw a lion, I know it. I saw an elephant, I saw it. I saw it. And you're like, it's done. Well, and there was a whole day's, safari. So you just have to find a way to make it good. In the middle, you'll have lunch, you'll have a dinner, bush dinner. You'll have some traditional culture.
You'll have a sundowner.
You'll have sundowner. You'll have some few services there. Some those who like massages are done from the, they are quite things that are going to make you feel it. This is an experience.
To immerse you into that moment.
Yes, we want to make you feel it.
One of the things that this new constitution brought about were these newfangled counties. Now, counties, the few that I've visited, I've seen things that were never there before.
Yes.
And the sort of institutions, the sort of establishments that would offer what you are now saying have emerged.
Yes.
And they are offering things that previously nobody offered. Okay, like for instance, on your way to Nyeri, there's a place called Chaka Ranch. What Chaka Ranch offers is not something that I have seen anybody else offering on that scale.
Yes.
So it's a completely different experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you go to Rhino Ark,
Yes.
it looks like an ordinary safari, but it's also a completely different experience.
Yes.
Now, my question is this. Given the diversity of such establishments across the country, does Hemingway Travel help sensitize and educate their client to understand the diversity that actually exists within the country?
Wow, that's great. Indeed. That is what we do. So remember, to sell, you have to convince. And to convince, you have to demonstrate. So what we have had to do is to make sure that we are able to map for example, pick Kenya, exactly what you have said. We're able to map Kenya different sites. So we're able to know what do you see in which particular place. And as a result, we're able to attract traffic depending on what is available. So we're able to say on the Mount Kenya region, you have got this products to be seen. And that's how we find it. You were gone to Masai Mara, we don't take you there next time. We'll take you to go and see the mountain, Mount Kenya. We'll take you down to go to the coast. We'll take you down to Lamu. So we are able to map the country, even the region, not only the Kenya alone, on the region, and be able to demonstrate what are the sites that are of interest. In fact, we mentioned about Chaka Ranch. It came up to my discussion yesterday with my kids. They still reminded me that you need to go back to Chaka Ranch.
They want a repeat performance.
I want a repeat performance.
Yes.
And I was like, why? We're not done with those bikes.
So what experiences did they have at Chaka Ranch?
Wow. As Muka said, Chaka Ranch offers a unique product. You go there. For me, I found myself in a tent. I hadn't been prepared. But what was happening with the kids? We had we got ourselves onto the bikes. We drove into the bush. That independence that my 14-year-old could ride on a bike into the bush alone. It felt like he's driving a Ferrari. And they want that. So really, these sites do offer different things. Yeah,
that's true. And I think that, like Kithitu, you're saying, the development of the various sites and then the counties needing to do a lot more so they can promote the sites.
Yes.
Remember, we had the CEC for Trade and Tourism from Nyeri County.
Yes, we did.
The other day, and she was talking about the various things and places that she was mentioning, and you're thinking, huh?
Places you've never heard of yourself.
Yes. You can go and enjoy the Abadeas, some experiences in the Abadeas. You can go, for example, like you're saying, Chakaranch. You can go to Tafaria Castle.
Yes.
And other different places. And
you know, Eric, the establishment that didn't exist before the county system came into being. Now, just around Mount Kenya, for instance, or around the Abadeas, there are very many other establishments that have come up that were not there before.
Quite right. And these are the benefits of counties governance.
Yes.
What happening, we used to have one minister for tourism. We do still have. But now, remember, we still have got ministers of tourism in the counties. So everybody is trying to populate, to make it better for himself, to attract.
But what I have found interesting about these developments within the counties is they are cost efficient and they are cost friendly. Because the vast majority of people who actually go to these establishments are probably locals.
Yep.
Yes.
So, and yet, if you look at the standards are good.
Yes.
They are not some ramshackle. It's a place that you'd comfortably want to stay in. Now, why I asked the question was primarily because of this. I come from Kisumu County, and the likelihood that somebody will go to establishments within the neighboring counties is there. For instance, for the longest time before things were developed, people would come from Siaya County, Nyamira County, and they'd come to Kisumu, because Kisumu was a place that had most, it had this sector in its most developed form.
Yes.
This has now changed. People knew they could go to Mombasa.
Yeah.
Perhaps Malindi is a little far, but they could go. Now, what I'm saying is, somebody coming from Kisumu County and going to Marsabit, somebody coming from Kakamega County and going to Nyeri. That. Because it will be a completely different experience that they have never actually had.
Are we seeing that, Dr. Kithitu?
Yes, indeed, we are seeing, when Muga was mentioned about Kisumu, a friend of mine told me that if you get to Kisumu, you don't leave. I was like, what?
Why?
I think that the good doctor went.
So
and he can tell us why.
So when I tried to do my small research, I have to keep on researching in this world. And I was found that Kisumu is life, and the people want life. But the question around people moving to inter-counties, it is there. It's there. What's happening is that it's a zoning and creating a value. What happening? We had products in different counties that had been probably, let's say, neglected or not polished. Now the counties have polished them up. They have become attractive sites, and people want. First of all, they are cheaper. You drive. You don't have a flight. It's not expensive as such, as we mentioned here. So really, the inter-county movements are there. And it's encouraging. You remember and the COVID has showed us that people are locked in this country for quite some time. You would have to live here, go to Dubai, go to Seychelles. Now what do? You live here, go to Lamu. You live here, go to Marsabit. You go live here, you go to
Meru.
To Meru. Actually, I'm planning to go to Rusinga Highlands. Those are the things I'm planning myself. So you can see there is the local product is attracting. The local product is becoming something to go by.
And opening up the country.
And opening up the country, increasing revenue. All this is doing is from the context of commerce. There's commerce in it.
27 minutes to 8. Let's take a quick break. Dr. Joseph Kithitu is the Managing Director of Hemingway's Travel. We are talking about travel trends before COVID, after COVID, and then comparing this general election year with previous general election years. What are we seeing? Domestic travel and international travel.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
This is the Situation Room on SpiceFM, on YouTube and Facebook. CT Muga, Eric Latif, Ndu Oko, who is battling tonsillitis this morning, Pole Sanandu. And our guest, Dr. Joseph Kithitu, he's the Managing Director of Hemingway's Travel. We're talking about travel trends. Dr. Kithitu, this year, I've heard a couple of people mention and say that we are seeing a high number of people visiting the Mara. Even before the migration had actually started proper, we even saw people going into the Mara. Now, at the peak of migration, more and more people. It's an election year. How do you explain this?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Eric. Basically, there are quite many factors to explain this. And the key factor is to look at the behavior and patterns. What we have seen is that COVID has caused is a disruptor in travel. So there are many points of disruptors. Elections are disruptors of travel. But even war in Ukraine is a disruptor of travel. But over time, like anything else, travel has also developed some levels of resilience to a point that, do I want to be worried about this? Am I safe? If I'm safe to some parameters, I move on. And as a result, we have seen people just moving on with their normal lives. Having been held up together for long during the COVID period, the pent-up demand, as I mentioned earlier, was built up, especially for international travel. In those markets, we talk of savings. They saved money they were not able to spend. I think it doesn't happen here. But you find we're able to have some savings because they did not use it for the holidays. And as a result of that, you don't want that to go again. So this year opens an opportunity. And I think it's a gain for us in that ideally in an election year, you would expect numbers to come down. Okay, but this is an election year just after the opening up, the easing up of COVID. So that it becomes like a good thing for us in that people want to move up. I think election is not as bad as where we were with COVID, and as a result, there are no bad indicators to indicate that this country is in a bad position in terms of travel, and as a result, people are moving. In fact, where we sit today, our numbers are going up this year versus 2019. Remember,
Which
we are saying pre-COVID
year.
Yes.
And is this sustainable? Because a lot of times we say, how you're going to test something is if you've had the experience the first time. So now that a lot more Kenyans are experiencing travel around the country, is it something that can be sustained over time from where you sit?
Yeah, yes. The sustainability of travel is basically it's an issue of how do you distribute wealth. As more people get ability to spend, travel continues. Remember, this is a population matrix. Not everybody has traveled. In fact, if you pick a particular site and you look at the Kenyan population, the number of people that are visited there aren't that many. So it means you have a big pool that can visit that site, as long as the income ability to spend, the income power, spending power goes up.
And
so
their knowledge.
And their
awareness of
knowledge,
the place.
we have got these sites now making it more easier people to understand. So it is sustainable. There is future in travel. There is future in hospitality. That is a business to live in.
One of the things that I've always found interesting with travel is that even when people have gotten to understand the benefits of it, the players, those who you could say are the pillars of that particular industry, like yourself, what I don't understand is what process do people follow to understand the needs of these various segments of the communities that we have? And do you get to the point where you even have the numbers? For instance, you can decide those who will go to Nanyuki by rail for purposes of visiting that area. Those Mombasa by rail, Mombasa by bus, Nanyuki by whichever destination. And the data about the sort of places they would like to go to and what they would like to see. Why do I ask this? I ask this so that even if somebody is going to Amboseli, it doesn't mean that what they saw last year is what they're going to see this year. So that they can actually find from the visitors what it is that they've enjoyed and what else they like to see. All these establishments have a suggestion box. All.
Yes.
Now, is it utilized? Because again, what one finds is when you go to many such establishments, the thing you saw last year is what you're likely to see the following year.
Thank you, City. We have moved from suggestion box to TripAdvisors. To basically, you are able to go to the online and comment and put a comment about your experience into that property. And those now are very key pillars or in this industry. You even before you go to a property, you want to check what other people commented about it. And that quickly gives you an indicator as to what do you expect. So what has happened is that within the travel, the hospitality industry at large, we are careful to be able to manage what the previous client experiences were and make them better so that we continue improving the product. Now, you raised this issue around how do we know that their number is going to move to Nanyuki, number is going to move to Naivasha or Mombasa? It's like, will you have an hotel this morning and there's no guest? That's the question and the fear. And to counter that is like, if you're doing a matatu or a transport, do you go to the stage and put your matatu there, and that day you have no passenger going to town. Somehow they do pop up, they come, they fill it up. May take time, not the normal time it takes before, but somehow you find. And what is the measure of that? It's the population. It's the pool. So for the hospitality industry, there is now a pool that can be able to fill the properties at different times. What we see is that the numbers will vary depending on timings. But ideally, we are, as the professional in the travel, our basic work is to disseminate knowledge, give the product, offer the product to the people, and avail it and create the value. And we have seen there is demand, there is population, and there is market.
Would you say that the local population are able to sustain the industry?
This industry is big. It depends on what product you're offering. If you're offering, for example, a domestic flight, that local route, it's able to be sustained by a domestic market. If you have an hotel that is just offering a domestic product alone, it's able to be sustained by that product. So the local market can sustain. However, we scale up the products. We have international and domestic. Basically, what we look at is not whether we used to say, are you a foreigner or a local? We are coming out of those, terminologies. But basically, people are inbound, outbound. If you're inbound, you're coming into the country. And what we want is, as those numbers increase, they increase the occupancies, they increase our travel, they increase our visitations, and that makes also the industry boom. So basically, the local is okay, it's enough, but we want some dollars. The locals will never give you dollars. We still want this, the inbound travelers to bring in the foreign currency and pump it up, and we give that high value product to our local people. That is the whole proposition. Yeah.
You know, countries like the US, I would dare say even countries like China, if you look at the numbers of tourists that they have in their country, people tend to visit parts of their own country, sometimes even more than other people who come from outside.
Yes.
Now, there may be reasons, there may be dynamics that one doesn't fully understand. Where I was going with this is, yes, there's the understanding of the costs. There's the understanding of what people would like. But again, I recall a time when we had something called Kaya Bombo at the coast, and travel advisories were issued and people rarely came to the coast. That was the beginning of what then became local tourism, people actually going out to visit destinations on their own. Now, why it was a surprise was because that market catered for visitors who came from outside. The question that I'm really asking is there enough effort being made? And the numbers I was speaking of would bolster whatever response there is. Are there enough efforts being made to ensure that irrespective of how much somebody thinks they want to spend, that they can have an opportunity to travel outside their town? Even if I'm going to Kitengela, I've traveled out of the Nairobi. Even if I'm going to Machakos.
You can go to Moor Hills and spend a day.
Yes. It's out of
enjoying
town.
sights and sounds of Moor Hills.
Yes.
Getting that, you see that place that they talk about, a certain hill where water flows uphill.
Where gravity is defied.
Yes.
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 Right here.
Yes. Indeed, I can tell you, pre-COVID, there was a lot of attention paid marketing offshore to just make sure that people outside the country know the product. Within the COVID period and now, there's a lot of effort being done to market Kenyan to the products to the domestic market. There's a lot of awareness being created to make sure that the local people understand. I will give you an example. At the Hemingways group, we have the Hemingways properties. During the COVID period, and actually up to even this year, late this year, we have seen our numbers going to 70-80% occupancies. And when you walk into that hotel, it's 90% locals. That wasn't the case in 2019, 2018. You would walk into those hotels and find 80% are foreigners and 30% or thereabout are locals. It's the reverse. So there's a lot of market awareness. There's a lot of materials being disseminated to the market, to the locals. Just to and even with a rate, there's a rate that has been lowered to make sure that the locals are attracted, the locals are pulled. And I trust all of us here, the four of us here, we all desire one day, even a weekend or everything, to go out And this is because we have that kind of constant social media messaging. We're getting this information. This is coming up. The other day I saw a spa in Naivasha, at the geothermal, where the temperatures, water comes at 160 degrees, gets to 80 degrees, and is going to 41 degrees at the swimming pool. And my kids are telling me, Dad, I want to go to swim in that 41 degrees pool. It wasn't created through marketing. I would not have known it. But a marketing campaign was done.
Let's talk about the business traveler, right? So
Yes.
many people who are traveling, even within the country, are traveling on business.
Yes.
How do you, as Hemingway's Travel and Hemingway's Expeditions, create something out of the business travel to add leisure into it?
Thank you. I want to leave you, a lady and a gentleman, with one word called blasia. This is a mixture of the two words. Blasia. It's a mixture of the two words. Official travel and leisure combined. And this is where travel has gone to. That I cannot take 2 holidays. So I combine my official duties with the personal travel. So basically, I combine that and make it one product. So what we are doing at Hemingway's Travel is to create. As remember, Hemingway's Travel is a travel management company. A travel management company basically deals with corporate travel. Exactly what you've said: business traveling, business meetings, activities that are related to work. Within that, we want to create a niche market of personalizing the leisure within it. So, and what happened is that our properties, among others, are able to create that kind of, once you're done with your conference, what do you do in the afternoon? Well, the last day of the conference, even the conference is skewed that the last day, 1 or 2 days, you are left free. What do? We have the excursions. We have the short safaris. So there's a lot of, we normally call look and feel about those official travel, added a component of leisure. In fact, what you see most of the people doing now, and maybe you try to do it, when you travel on an official travel, probably the last day your spouse joins you. And then you're able to have 1 or 2 days of leisure after the official travel. So you can find these are the things that are happening in terms of the travel space. Yeah.
You know, we had a conversation with the CEO. She's still CEO. She left of KICC, Nana Geshaga. And she was talking about the same. When you talk about mice and people who are coming for business, they are also looking to add some bit of leisure into their travel. And they're looking for different experiences. Yes, we have the Nairobi National Park, so you can go and have some safari. But what else can be offered? Are we seeing your industry coming together and having conversations about how to curate experiences? So you come to Nairobi, you are thinking of what else you can do. For longest time, the Carnival Simba Saloon had a lot of that. Come in and you have all this nyama, the nyama plata, what else can we do? Can you go somewhere and have mudokoi and githeri and sample osuga and what was the other, the dry meat called? Athola.
No, Athola is not the dry meat.
Is what?
No, Athola is only... Alia is the dry meat.
Is the dry
That's
meat.
the dried meat,
Yes.
yes.
So you have all this. So you have a culinary experience.
Yes.
Other places where you can go to, you can take people to the new Uhuru Gardens and go into the museums and see the history of the country. Others where you can visit places. Are you, as an industry, coming together to have those conversations of how to actually curate experiences for people who are coming into the country?
Yes, you're quite right. And that thinking is quite timely. There is a big thinking around creating, itineraries. We call them itineraries. That you are within the city. What do you do? So, and if you visit any property today, you ask them, I'm here to the whole day. What do I do? You'll be shocked. Products have been created. The industry is thinking through it to create products that are of attraction, not only just the Nairobi National Park. I still remember we had this session with the Ministry of Tourism, and I still put my claim in mind. He said there's a thinking to create a way you can walk down the streets of Nairobi. You are from abroad, and you can be taken round through the river roads. You can see how those lives are in a safe, secure environment. You walk back, walking the city. I remember I've gone to Turkey, and I've had to be taken to the town, just a walk to see what that city is all about. So
Which part of the town?
In Nairobi, what we are talking
I'm talking about Turkey.
No, I've been to Istanbul.
Yes.
But basically, what I mean is that we are looking at this product like in Kenya.
Okay, you're giving the example. Yes, go ahead.
So when you come to Kenya, and that's a discussion the ministry, the tourism ministry, actually, that discussion, the forum we had, was to discuss, can we have a product? People can have a walk through the Kenyatta, the market.
Enjoy the sights and
the
sounds of
markets,
Nairobi.
get the people to see how they shop. Especially when you're a Kenyan, you might not find it interesting. But imagine you've stepped into this country for the first time, and you are taken to City Market or Kikomba Market. You really be able to interact with the culture. What you need is security, to be safe, to see how people culture is. So these thinkings are happening. They might not be fully because of some of probably aligning up security issues, but I think a lot of things is being done to put that into perspective. So there is a big thinking around creating a local product, a local site, where we don't just stay in the room, but you can just enjoy the country. Those things are being thought through.
And then also, beyond that, like you said, disruptors and the resilience of the Kenyan market. Look at the various circuits, like you call them. I see a lot of focus and attention being given to the circuit around Amboseli, Mara, Coast. And then you don't see much happening in Western Kenya. Is there sufficient effort being made, let's say, to market more of Western Kenya? Like we said, going Kisumu and beyond, go into Mount Elgon, go into Kakamega Forest, go into all those places.
I think we started by saying that with the counties, they have created their CS for tourism and all that. You'll find the county minister in that region is really fighting hard to create a value for those products. What we see and why we find the sites you have mentioned do a lot of attraction is first because of the investment in properties. You'll find you go to the Kakamega Forest, you might not find probably a 4-star or a 5-star property. So when you have guests that are coming, let's say international guests, there's a circuit they want to follow. But people are investing now. You may find, even where I come from, Kithitu, you really struggle to get a 3-4-star hotel. Even no 4-star, but let's say 2-3-star hotel. Where we are today, it's very easy to walk in and find a product. Even if it's not given a 3-star, it rates to 3-star. So, and that is where you find, you can take a guest to Kitui, the guest will feel a 3-star product, and we experience the site. We have a stone there that you go around, it says if you're a man, you become a lady. 7 times.
Gender
the challenge is that no one has dared.
Those that tell the story,
yes,
are the ones that have experienced it.
I told you they were once a woman.
That's exactly what they're telling you indirectly.
And you believe such things?
Of course.
All right, you go ahead and
See, we go. Dr. Kithitu, you'll take us.
Indeed,
what's a rock
not
called?
going
Zabani Rock.
Zambani Rock.
Yes.
It would be good to actually just even go there and try it out.
And it's in
See, you'll turn
Kitui.
back.
Just wait, Eric.
Yeah?
Has that rock been in any other place other than just Kitui?
Only in Kitui.
Then let it just stay in Kitui.
I want to go there.
The beach has not come to Nairobi.
Has it?
You know the reason why I'm asking this, yeah?
As we conclude.
A place called Kitimikai, just rocks.
Yes.
Yes.
It's an attraction.
Yes.
Rocks.
Rocks.
People go to see them.
See, they say they cry.
That's what they say.
Exactly. Those
By the
ones
way-
cry. These are the ones you go around. Your gender
change.
changes. Good tour. That is the narrative that's created to make it attractive. Dr. Kithitu, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed a pleasure.
Asante sana. Dr. Joseph Kithitu is the managing director of Hemingway's Travel. We'll be talking about traveling trends and travel trends before COVID, after COVID, and then comparing this election year with previous election years.